Hey guys, this screencast will show you how to start creating your passenger base and how to use different constraints in order to do that. And it will just give you the main pointers of Inventor. So if you, whatever kind of model you're making, if you forgot just how to start, this is the screencast for you. So we're going to click New when we have our Inventor open. And we're trying to make a part, so we're going to go to English units. If that's what we want. If we're in centimeters or something, we want to be in metric. And we're going to be standard IPT. Sheet metal is something we would very, very rarely use, so we won't click that. And assembly is going to be once we take more than one part and we want to put them all together. So we'll click Create. And Inventor is going to take a little bit, but if you see down here, there's a little green loading strip, and that will show us that it's starting up. So I'm going to minimize Inventor a little bit so that I can drag it to my corner and I can view my part that I'm making at the same time as I make it. So this might be a good setup for your screen for all the pieces that you're going to be making, because you're going to have all the dimensions here and you can easily see rather than having to click back and forth. So we have our model, and the first thing we always want to do is create a 2D sketch. So we can click whichever plane we want. For this model, you would any plane would actually make sense because we're just making a piece that looks like this. It's actually going to lay down in our piece, in our car. So if we wanted to choose the bottom, we could, but I usually choose this XY plane. So we have our axes right here, and I'm going to make that the center of my shape. So I'm just going to make a rectangle. Once again, it does not matter how big I make it because my dimension constraint will help me change that. So I'll click my line and drag it up. I only want to drag it very close to the line so that it's out of the way, but also right next to it, because the farther I drag, the harder it will be able to tell which line I'm actually showing the dimension of. So if we can see down here, from here to here is 1.975, so I'm going to put that in. And my my sketch just got much bigger, so I just have to go over here to my magnifying glass, and it will zoom to that sketch. I'm going to dimension the other side, which over here says 1.590. So once again, I'm going to magnify, and now I see my entire rectangle. So if I want to zoom out a little bit, I can click zoom and hold down my key and move my mouse pad, and I can zoom in and out. I just have to re-click that to get off of it. And if I see up here dimension is highlighted, if I try to do something else, try to move this around, see how every time I go on a line, this little dimension symbol comes up next to my arrow. So to get off of anything, all you have to do is just click the escape key on your keyboard, or right click and you'll have to click cancel escape. And now I can click whatever I want and drag it and do whatever. So if anything is highlighted blue, you won't be able to do anything else until you escape out of that. So I see here that my main rectangle has edges that are filleted. So what that means, if you're in a big screen, you can see fillet up here. It's this little triangle with a curved edge. If we're smaller, it just comes up like this. You can't see the name, but once we put our mouse over the tool, you can see what the tool is, and you can see how to use it. So I'm going to click that. This is my radius. How big do I want those fillets to be? So I'm going to come around here and find, you can notice on all three of these, nothing is told about the radius, but on this one, we can see the radius is 0.2. So I'm going to put that in. And you'll see I put 0.2. I don't have to click enter. If I click this, it'll just go away. I'm just going to have this plus symbol next to my arrow, and I know that I'm going to be able to use my fillet tool. So I can go over the corner, and as I click the corners, you can see that that arc comes up, and I'll click it and it will apply it. So I want that to come on all four of my corners. When I'm done, I can click that equal sign. That will just stop it. You can click the X, and your fillets will stay on point. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do, we'll see we have all 4 of these shapes. So let's start with my square. So I know I can just make a square over here, something, however big, and I know that I can dimension my square. I want that to be 0.58, and I want the height of it to be, as we can see over here, it looks like a perfect square, and since they don't tell us how tall, they want us to assume that we know both sides of our square are 0.58. So I'm going to go there and cancel escape out of my dimension tool, and I can drag this wherever I want. But how do I know how far down and how far over I need this? Because it needs to match up. So I can see here 0.2 is the distance from my side to the side of my square, so I can use that dimension tool and click on this line, and if I just have that, it will give me this. But if I go over and I click to this line and get that little symbol next to my arrow, click both of those lines, now I can get the distance between these two, and I want that to be 0.2. I can do that, or let me show you a different way to do that. So I'm going to delete this, and I can drag this over again. Do we see how this dot lines up with my line here? So I can see that dot, which is the radius of my fillet, is lined up with that side of my square. So I can use my coincident constraint, which puts a point onto an arc. So I can say this point I want to line up with this line. And now, if I escape out of that and I try to drag it over, it will drag the entire sketch, because that point and that line are always going to be equal now. This can still move up and down because I didn't constrain it at all. So for that, this says it's 0.05. I'm just going to use that dimension. From there to there, click 0.05. Now, anytime that I try to move this, the entire sketch will move with it. Okay, so our square is on there and it's set in the right spot. I'm going to let you decide how to do your circle. Let's try to do this triangle. So this triangle is made of 3 lines, and I want one of my lines to be lined up, and then I want my next line to have the corner. As you can see over here, I want my corner to be lined up with this dot, which is also lined up with this side of my square, and I want it to be in the middle of this line that I have here. So I can move over until I get this dotted line vertically, and I can move down until I get that horizontal line also. So I want to see both this vertical and horizontal dotted line. Then I know I'm at the right spot. Then I want to just connect back to the beginning, and I'm all set. So I'm going to dimension that line to be 0.638, and I might need to redo, I'm still on dimension, so I might need to redo these lines so I can get them right in the center position that I want. So let's first make sure this line is lined up exactly where I want, and then my other 2 lines will form where they need to go once my line is set. So I can dimension, I know from the bottom to this point, so you can see that I get this white dot at the end. I want from there to there to be 0.05. So I know that's all set. And how far do I want it over? Well, let's put in our other lines first. We want to get those 2 dotted lines, put those in, and I can escape and dimension from the corner here over to here. I want that to be 0.2. And the reason it knew that was because I'm already lined up with my dot. So this is how we make our triangle and square, and how we constrain them to the different portions of the system. So try to use those skills that we just talked about and the skills that you learned in the constraints activity to make the circle exactly lined up where it should be. Think about how you can use this arc dot to constrain your circle, and make sure you put in your diameter of your circle and the distance from one side to the other. You can also use construction lines, which these dotted lines are, to help you out. So this looks like it's a circle, and inside is a polygon, which we can use right here. You can put in however many sides you want on your polygon, and it will give you this polygon. You can use, turn those into construction lines and create your star. Think about all the different constraints that you're going to need.